And we're live. Here we go. I'll wait for a couple of you to come on, or one of you, and I will get started. So while I wait, usually takes a second. Oh, there we go. First person in. All right. So I will go ahead and start. You guys are awesome. So, toxic positivity. And then I show the picture of Joy from Inside Out. And all of a sudden, this is definitely one of those things where it's just like, we all know that person, right? We all know that person that seems to always have it together, who's always on their Instagram or Facebook and loving life and listening to music and all these things, right? Or just they don't even have to be on social media, and they're just that person who always seems so upbeat and so just woo, full of life. That is really hard to maintain, and it's really hard to do. Okay, I know because I've tried it. But we're going to go over the emotional scale today. So let me know if you guys have any questions, or let me know if you guys have known someone like that, because I have. I've actually known a few people, and they're a little bit exhausting to be around. Not because of the hyperness, it's because the inauthenticity that gets me. Okay. So as you guys know, I'm a psychic medium. I do therapy sessions. I'm an NLP practitioner. So I pay attention to language a lot, not just your body language, like your actual language, the words coming out of your mouth. So I pay attention to some of these people, and I know I tried to do it for a while, and probably the time that I most tried to do it when I was the most depressed. Now, I'm not saying that this applies to everyone, because there are really upbeat people, but to maintain that level of just happy, and their freaking voice gets all high pitched, and all of a sudden, this can't be real. This can't be how they usually are or how they normally are. So I was watching Inside Out, and this is why I took the liberties to go ahead and talk about this today. Because during the movie, I started to see myself in Joy. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that I haven't felt joy, or none of you have, or those people who are constantly upbeat. Okay. What I am saying is that throughout the movie, she is attempting to keep this level of positivity because that is her character. That is what she's in charge of. She's in charge of making this little girl, Riley, happy. And then all of a sudden, if you guys have seen this movie, it's an amazing movie to get in touch with your emotions. And if anything, it was used to kind of gear it towards children so they can start using even colors to talk about when they're in disgust. Oh, green, 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 when they're in fear, maybe it's a blue, when they're joy, it's that yellow. And when they're angry, it's that red, right? So if you guys haven't watched it, I definitely do recommend this movie. Just so you guys can get an insight, because they actually go into the subconscious mind, and then they go into like the thought of train. And it's a really, really good movie. So it is really hard to stay at that level of joy all the time. So as I'm watching this movie, her character goes through this dip, okay? And sadness is the one coming around. Sadness was blue. Guys like my shirt? I could tell you where you can get it. So sadness was blue, and she kept touching core memories, or core memories are those impacting memories that we have that don't go away, okay? And sadness kept going around. She's being dragged, and she's like touching all of these memories that at one point were happy, and she's making them sad. So you go through this life of this little girl, and you realize that this is us a lot of the time, okay? But I'm here to talk about that toxic positivity, that positivity that is just, it's insane. We all go through levels, okay? So one of the things that I often compare with my clients, right, is that, let's just take the heart monitor, okay? It's the perfect example. The heart monitor beeps, it goes up, it goes down, it has higher, lowers, and it just does this, right? It lets you know you're alive. Now, on the emotional scale, and I should have had this up already. So on the emotional scale, if you guys take a look, if you guys just, it's called the emotional guidance scale. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, it looks like this, okay? So this is the one that I'm talking about, and this one gears on the megahertz or the vibration or the frequency, okay? When you have somebody who is constantly up top, which is our vibration of love, it's the vibration of joy, it's all these really like knowledge and empowerment. I'm not saying you can't stay there, but we do have the dips where we dip into the lesser vibrational scale, which is passions, enthusiasm. What else does it have here? Positive expectation, optimism, hopefulness, contentment. So as you see, I'm reading it down. Then we get to the downward spiral, which is eventually leads into depression. So we have boredom, pessimism, frustration, irritation, impatience, overwhelmment, disappointment, doubt, worry, blame, discouragement, anger, revenge, hatred, rage, jealousy, insecurity, unworthiness, fear, grief, depression, and powerless victimhood. Now, that heart monitor that I'm telling you about, a lot of people have said, oh, my life is like a roller coaster. It's almost the same concept. You've got to have your ups in order to have your downs, and you got to have your downs in order to go somewhere to eject you back upward. Okay. Now, what happens when you're at a constant state, whether it be happiness, whether it be boredom, whether it be whatever it is? What happens is you're no longer doing this. Okay. You're flatlining. So in medical terms, what happens when you flat die? You flat die. I gave you the answer. When you flatline, you die. You're not living. So I'm not saying it's not a good thing to live in that positivity, okay, or that toxic, but I'm talking about those people that you know at heart that their lives are not like that. That inside they're dying. Inside there's somebody who's sick. Inside there's issues with money. Inside they're going through this entire whole turmoil. So really what this ends up being about is pay attention to those people who are toxically positive, who is just like, you look at them and it feels inauthentic. It feels like there's no way their life is that perfect, because no one's life is that perfect. Unless you're a monk living off in, monkland. When you live in a city, when you live in a country where you have to work to make a living, and you don't enjoy what you do, there's no way that you can keep a level of positivity so high, because then you're in denial. You're in denial of seeing the world as it is. Now, we have to have those lows in order to go back up. Now, do you guys have any questions on that? Thank you, Nancy. Because what happens is, if you're constantly up here and something comes in, what happens is, in order to stay at that level of vibration and a high level, you take the thing and you flip it. This is why I always use the clear, cancel, delete. This is why I use the cancel, cancel, cancel. And I tell you guys to tap the inside of your palm when you guys have a thought that doesn't match with the vibration that you're going for. Okay. But it's really important to feel your emotions, because if you can't feel your emotions, you can't heal them. So throughout this movie, sadness actually is the one that comes and ends up saving the day. Okay. Sadness ends up being the one, because Joy, all of a sudden, she's in that pit, right? She's down at the bottom. You guys really need to watch this movie. And all of a sudden, she's looking at the memory and she rewinds it. She rewinds the memory and she realizes, oh, it's not that sadness is gloom and doom all the time. It's that sadness is a necessary part of our growth. All of these lower vibrations, they're a necessary part of our growth. So I want you to start to look at things like that. So when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling anger, when you're feeling rage, you have to have the breakdown in order to have the breakthrough. Okay, does that make sense? Because if we don't feel those emotions, there's no way that we're going to grow. Now, some of us actually learn from other people's mistakes. Some of you don't. Some of you actually have to experience all of these emotions and really go deep down into them. But the majority of us, honestly, I really do believe that we all came here to feel. We all came here to feel love. We all came here to feel all of these emotions. And not very far, we're all sentient beings. We all feel. To be a sentient being means that you feel the pain, you feel the the anguish you feel when, when your dog passes away, when your grandmother passes away. Like those are all emotions that we go into in order to have our breakthroughs, in order to come back up. So when she rewinds the memory, she realizes, oh, wow, the only reason that joy came in, the only reason that the happiness came through, the only reason that the encouragement and all those other emotions that this little girl felt was because sadness had to be present first. So take this with anger and rage. How many of you have ever been so upset that you go really dark? You go really dark. I mean, there was times, and I've said this before, and like I said, I'm not perfect, but this is also me being very just transparent with you. There were times I used to look at my husband and I just wanted to smother him with a pillow because his breathing was just like, I was so irritated at him at the time. So we can go really, really dark, okay? But then I realized, hold on. Let me rewind this and let me see how I can pull it back and reflect it. What is it about his breathing that I need to work on? Because he's just existing. Why is his presence so irritating to me? Because it wasn't his presence that was irritating to me. It was my own presence, my own unhappiness, my own wanting to get ahead and feeling like I couldn't because I wanted to place the blame on him. And I didn't want to accept my own responsibility. So when you look at this emotional scale, I want you to pay attention to where you're at most of the time. Are you on the upbeat side or are you down? And if you're doing one of these, that's perfectly fine. It means you're living it. It means that you're experiencing those emotions. Because like I said, we have to have our breakdowns in order to have our breakthroughs. And not only that, but when we're at the bottom, there's nowhere else that we can go but up. Okay? Depression is a really major thing in our community, but it's us, because I can tell you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was majorly depressed and nobody would have ever known. I wanted to kill myself. I mean, I tried. So these are those things that you want to pay attention to. These people who are constantly always positive, always on a high. And you can ask them, are you okay? And you'll stop them dead in their tracks and they'll go into automatic mode. Yeah, I'm fine and this and that. And then they're like, no, are you really okay? Because I promise you that if we ever actually took the time to stop those people who are toxically positive around us, they just need someone that wants to listen to them. Now, the law of attraction, how I've said before, you want to go ahead and create those things that you want in your life. So you want to cancel out the negative thoughts, right? I'm not talking about when you're trying to attract something in. I'm talking about these people who claim to have a very beautiful life. They have the car, they have the wife, they have the kids, they have the house, they travel, they do this, they do that. Now, I'm not just specifying those people, but in that realm, you guys know who I'm talking about. I want you to pay attention to those people and actually stop them. No, do you have any problems? Do you experience the lows? And you'll realize that they do. They just try and hide it. They just try and not think about those things and they sweep them under the table. But this is those times when you get into that spiral depression where we're image. We are, I believe, it's 95% image. Only 5% of what you see of it with a lot of people is authentic. The rest is all a front. So I challenge you to ask those people that are constantly always positive, are you okay? You know, do you have any issues in your life? Just not so you can feel better, but really it's about realizing that you're not the only one that goes through these ups and downs. And it's very necessary to feel the downs. But this is an amazing movie that I highly suggest that you guys look into. I definitely got a brand new perspective, I guess you can say, because I had watched the movie before, but it really made me realize it is so necessary to feel all of these emotions. It's so necessary to feel everything. And I always say, if you can feel it, you can heal it. So if you guys need any help with that, or you guys know of somebody who is always like that, please go ahead and just check on them. Really check on them, because I can guarantee you that they are going through something, okay? That their life is not perfect and that they just need somebody to talk to without the judgment. And that's the biggest thing that we face, is that we don't want people to judge us. Because I remember when I was on that high and everybody thought, oh my God, she's dancing and she's shedding weight and she's doing all these things. She's traveling. She must be so happy. I was not. I was very miserable. I was very heartbroken. And I had to put up a front. Why? Because of the job that I do, because of the people around me, because people got used to seeing me a certain way. But now what I do is you will not see me on social media for days. I take breaks. And I just kind of internalize. And the people who know me by now, they'll send me just a quick message. Hey, you good? What's going on? And because I want people to know what's happening with me or whatever, I'm very transparent. And that's one of the biggest things with me is I actually care. When you guys come into a session, I want to know because I learn from you and hopefully you guys learn from me too. So check on those people who are toxically positive. And I don't say, again, it's not about, it's a bad thing, but it's about checking beyond that and checking their language, because a lot of the times they'll just be, yeah, it's great, it's amazing. And it's not really like that. So my Lola is now letting me know it's time to wrap it up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's really quick. I want to kind of do a little bit more of these little quick short videos so I can keep you guys' attention. All right. So if you guys have any topics, drop them in the comment box or email me or message me, and I will be more than happy to go ahead and cover it. So take care, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. And Lola is ready. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.